All right, we're live. What up, everybody? John Mosales here. We got Jason Baum, Brian Shade. Just made it under the gun. We got a great Thursday night, week 9. We're halfway through the fantasy season. A lot going on, as always. Ton of injuries. We're keeping Jason busy doing that. We're gonna go through Brian's model. We're gonna talk some bets. We're gonna cover it all. All right. So what's up, everybody? What up, Jason?
Hey, what's going on, boys? Having a good day? Everybody having a good Thursday?
We had Brian with a fresh cut last week. We got Jason with a cut, and I'm wearing a hat because I need a cut. So
it wasn't a cut. I just actually showered.
Okay. What's up? What up, Brian? What's cooking in the model? We got Javonte Williams, number 1 overall again.
No, not this week. Bunch of Eagles actually, which is fun to see. Jacksonville.
Saw AJ Brown, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty tasty matchup.
Yeah, and they're juicy for fantasy. Yeah. Hopefully Saquon actually scores more. I have every league I have Saquon. I also have Hurts, so it's kind of beneficial. But for those who don't, I would get quite annoyed.
Yeah. Hurts those 3 rushing touchdowns. Oh yeah, that must have been.
I'll say it was kind of wild the other day how that ended up being a really good fantasy game for the Eagles because you watch that. I watched the opening drive of that game, and I thought it was going to take 4 hours for the Bengals. I mean, they were on the field for like 10 minutes and they scored. You're like, holy hell! The Eagles just need to score immediately, otherwise they're already in major trouble.
Yeah, it was an impressive win. I was happy with it. Couldn't complain.
But just again, from the fantasy standpoint of it too, like the opening drive takes up 2/3 of the first quarter. You're like, oh man, the Eagles, are the Eagles going to try to keep their defense off the field and get them a breather? Are they going to run their offense as normal? I wonder how that goes into changing battle plans if you're a head coach.
Yeah, it just seems like they're kind of trying to play big boy football. Like the strength of their team, the strength of their coaching is the offensive line, and I just think that's what they're leaning on.
Haven't they not scored in the first quarter all season, or is it the first
0
drive?
points, correct?
Yeah, just that's so. I don't know if they have a battle plan. They're just winging it.
They're winging it to 5-2. So.
Let's jump in here. So I guess we'll cover some injuries, but the big news, right? Everyone's talking about Joe Flacco over Anthony Richardson, right? We were talking about a little bit in our chat. Brian, so what do you think? Will we see Anthony Richardson again this season?
I think so. I just don't see why you'd spend a top 5 pick on a QB is inexperienced but has all the physical talent. You've seen flashes of the physical talent. Yeah, it was ugly last week, but there are QBs who who throw the ball, have 15 attempts throwing and have less yards than he had, even though he had 2 completions.
Okay, valid point.
Maybe it's just how I play. I feel like he plays the way I would play Madden, where it's just I'm either going to run it with him or just chuck it deep and hope for the best. And it's a fun way of playing. And I do think analytically, I do think it's kind of an interesting approach to it, where it's just all big plays and then he can run the ball. I think I don't see the point in the team building. The Colts aren't going to win the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. They're a solid team, sure. With Joe Flacco, they'll be 9-8, 10-7. Being in the middle is similar to the NBA, where it's if you're mediocre, yeah, you have a better chance of getting hot. But are you really going to win? Probably not. Why not grow a QB or find out that he's not the one?
Yeah, but it's all about what do you do, right? You got 53 guys in the locker room, right? You play the one guy, you got less chance to win. You play the old guy, right? It's battling kind of present versus future, right? With Joe Flacco, they got a chance to win every game. The offense is that good. And then Jason, right, for fantasy, right? What do you do with the wide receivers? If you got, what do you?
Josh Downs. Hello. I mean, I've been on the show too many times and talked about Josh Downs too many times. I've stuck with him all year, and now Josh Downs' stock is going way up. From just a straight, because I do love Anthony Richardson, and I know he's got the potential to be that guy. But for right now, and this is where I'm actually going to disagree a little bit with Brian. He gives the Colts the best chance to win right now. And if you have a shot to make the playoffs, you have to take it, because you just never know and the difference between the NFL and the NBA. The NBA, the best team usually wins. You don't see a ton of upsets, and eventually, they're gonna, the teams that maybe pull one, they flame out, or something. They run into a team that's just better than them along the way. With the NFL, you just literally never know. You get in, literally anything can happen in a 60-minute game. We've seen it so many times over and over again throughout the years. A team that has, a great record throughout the regular season, they get that first round bye, they take off. Team that goes into the wild card game, they win their wild card game, they go up against that seed, they either take them to the mat or they end up winning or make a crazy run. The Eli Manning Giants over the years, they were wild card teams when they got into that postseason and were playing playoff caliber football going in, and they were ready to go against teams that just weren't. They had, taken a couple. So you have a chance to win, you got to just take it.
Yeah, and also it's like the best way to develop Richardson might be to have him on the sidelines, right? Have him see the game from a different perspective. Maybe just learn more about either reading defenses, learn under Flacco. I mean, it's kind of a win-win right now, I think. And plus, Flacco's old; he might get hurt. He's still, now you got a great backup who's kind of humbled, and because I saw a clip where Richardson said NFL is easier than college. So, I mean, maybe
Flacco for him, too, is a great guy to learn from because they both have insane arm talent.
He wasn't good in college. I have like an old man friend who went to Florida and just hated him at UF because he wouldn't take the easy pass, kind of. So he's doing, I feel like, similar stuff from college to now, and you just hope you can find somebody to groom him.
I like that analytics comparison, though, right? It's kind of like baseball, where it's just about home runs now, right? Nobody's bunting. No one cares about singles. So, right, running or the deep ball, right? Maybe
threes and layups. Same with basketball.
Maybe he's just ahead of the curve. But okay, let's dive in. Let's just do some quick injury roundup, right? I think Jason, you wanted to talk about some QBs.
Let's start the quarterback position while we're on the topic. Jordan Love, groin injury, left Sunday's game against the Jaguars. The Packers were still able to pull it off thanks to Malik Willis and get the win. He practiced today in limited fashion in prep for Sunday's game against the Lions. Huge divisional showdown. I mean, as of right now, the NFC North is by far the best division in football. That division is absolutely electric, and now they haven't played a whole lot of head-to-head games against each other yet. There's only been like 2. I want to say it was Packers-Vikings and Lions-Vikings. So now you're going to really start getting into the meat of it. All those teams are going to start playing each other later in the year, and it's going to be awesome. But Love is tracking the play, and I would, just today, guess that he's going to play because of the magnitude of that game and how badly both teams need it.
But for fantasy, though, if Love's playing, you start him no matter what. Start Reed, start Dobbs, start Watson.
Yeah, I'm starting Love. I mean, the Lions' defense is good, but they still get vulnerable every now and then. Like, they obviously worked the Cowboys a couple weeks ago, and they obviously worked the Titans on Sunday, but the Titans are, not good. And now this is going to be Detroit's first real test without Aiden Hutchinson. And even a banged up Jordan Love at home, I would still start him at this point.
Okay. So quickly, anybody watching? If you're watching on Twitter, jump over to the YouTube stream. Then you can ask comments. We're gonna get to some comments shortly. We're just gonna do a quick roundup. So then we got Drake May, right? Concussed, but kind of practicing. He's hopeful.
Yeah, Drake May currently in concussion protocol. He is practicing in limited fashion, which is a good sign, which means he's progressing through. And at this point, could be able to go on Sunday. Sure, Patriots fans would not mind that.
So if Drake plays, my guy Demario Douglas, wide receiver 3?
Yeah, flex play at best.
Okay, but
until we start seeing some consistent passing numbers with May, it's still really hard to gauge at this point with Drake.
Hunter Henry though, top 5 tight end with Drake May.
I put him at tight end 2. Well, actually, yeah, high tight end 2, low end tight end 1. I'm planning on Hunter Henry this weekend. And I have him and Zach Ertz on one of my teams.
Okay, and then who else we got? We had Derek Carr. He might come back.
Yeah, it sounds like Derek Carr. He came back yesterday to practice and on track to play this weekend. I know he's struggled the last few weeks, but if there's a week to pick up and play Derek Carr, it is this one because they're playing everybody's favorite darling, the Carolina Panthers.
Okay,
Brian, quickly, how big a bump would you give Derek Carr then versus the Panthers? Like, who are you playing, Jordan Love or Derek Carr?
Jordan Love.
Okay.
I don't have Love. I don't have Derek Carr that high up. I think he's an auto start in 2 QB leagues. you're hoping that he goes off and throws a bunch of touchdowns, but I just think they've been kind of leaning on their run game now that Taysom's back. They have Kamara. They're getting Kendre Miller involved a little bit more. I just think they're kind of leaning more into that. And pretty much their only receiver left over is Chris Olave. I think you could start him very comfortably now. He's one of the higher receivers in my week's rankings that I like. Something that surprised me a good amount was how high he was up there, just given his recent pass. But like even Jordan Love, I think he's like my QB. He's like a mid QB2 for me, QB 16. I don't think it's the best just situation with him coming off a groin injury. He's been low-key pretty injury prone. I just think it's not a risk I would take. I'd start Goff over him in that game. They're like Geno, Aaron Rodgers, those guys I have ahead of them.
Rodgers, wow.
I don't think it's
a matchup to begin with the Rams. We talked about last week before the TNF game about how susceptible the Rams secondary was, and that Sam. The prop bets that we put down for that game or talked about like hit the first quarter.
Yeah,
like Sam Darnold threw 2 touchdowns right away. Bam.
None to Justin Jefferson though. All right, any other QBs? Jason, we missing?
Yeah, we got to talk about Lamar Jackson. He's missed
sorry.
practice 2 days in a row with knee and back injuries. Definitely something to monitor at this point. The Ravens are getting ready to host the upstart Broncos, whose defense has actually been pretty tough, recently. So that's not as easy of a matchup as we looked at like 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
No word yet on whether he can play or not. Lamar usually doesn't miss time if it's just some sort of ailment. If he has a legitimate, like, actual diagnosed injury, he misses games. But if it's like just some ailment or something like that, he usually plays. And for now, you still got to start him.
Yeah, I mean, he could be missing his left hand. We're still starting him for fantasy. Okay, Brian, we saw Jacksonville Jaguars. They got the Tampa disease, right? They lost, 3 guys? 2 guys? 2.5 guys?
I know Thomas is still up in the air.
2 to 4 weeks.
I heard it was like either he's day to day or 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know how that works, but
yeah, football.
Yeah. I don't see him playing. I never statted him out playing. So that leaves you with Gabe Davis, who's I think either coming back from an injury or a little banged up.
Yeah, he missed last week.
A little banged up.
Yeah. You have him. Parker Washington's probably their more like possession guy. Gabe Davis will do what he's always done is you hope for 1 long touchdown, and if not, you're probably disappointed. So I just think
the most volatile player in the history of fantasy football.
Yeah. I'm keeping an eye on that. I don't really know if I want to start anyone, to be honest, on that team, but depending on the Thomas news, Kirk seems to be out for an extended period of time. So yeah, somebody else could pick up. So Parker Washington, I think, is the guy to look at in that wide receiver room. Then just kind of keeping an eye after the game, look at the stats, see what happens, look at targets. That's kind of what I'm going to do this week.
Yeah, because last week, right, we lost Evans, Godwin. Everyone was like, oh, Jalen McMillan, maybe Sterling Shepard. But,
None of that.
What happened, right? It was Cade Otton and the running backs. So
Yep.
It felt, when Tampa Bay's guys went down, it felt very similar to Kansas City's running back situation. It's like, should I pick up this guy, and it just ended up being something totally different.
Yeah. So some fantasy football, it's chaos, right? It's really not that predictable. 1 + 1 does not equal 2. But okay, bro. Any other injuries quickly? Brian, anything else?
Houston receivers.
Oh, right.
I just think with their QB situation, great. Or for real life, I don't think he's the best fantasy, but we can go over that another time. But you have Tank Dell now. Previously, you had 3 receivers who you thought were starting worthy with Dell, Diggs, and I don't know why I'm forgetting the
Nico
best
Collins.
one. Yes, the best.
The best wide receiver in football.
Yes, you had those 3 who were at least flex at the worst, and probably Dell, and then the rest were wide receiver 1 and 2. I think Xavier Hutchinson I'm looking at. I picked him up in a few leagues.
John Metchie?
John Met.
Is it Metchie?
Yeah. I just think Robert Woods I wouldn't pick him up, but I just think he's going to get like 4 for 40. I just think if you're like desperate for just a floor of 4 points,
Bobby Trees. Yeah.
High floors only, baby.
Yeah.
that should be our podcast name. But so do we look like, can we extrapolate stuff from what we've seen? Like based on what we saw from Tampa, realistically, maybe nobody's going to step up and Stroud's going to struggle just have an elite pass defense, or maybe now it's Schultz. Is it Dalton Schultz time?
I mean,
Joe Mixon, 7 catches.
When I statted them out, it was obviously Tank Dell is like an auto start. And then I just kind of like I made it as even as possible between the 3, 12, 12, 12.
Yeah.
And then Joe Mixon's been around 12 all season too. And Dalton Schultz gets a little bit of a bump from like 11, 12 to more 15 range. But it's just going to be Tank Dell, I think, is a stud start.
So you think so? Even Jets pass defense, Sauce, like who are we starting Tank Dell over, right? Devontae Smith or Tank Dell?
I just think I think I have Dell.
Okay. Devontae Adams or Tank Dell?
Let's see. Dell.
Okay.
I have Tank Dell at like wide. He's a wide receiver 1 for me. I have him at 9.
Wow. I mean, I would any other week, sure. Yeah, I believe that. But I'm just,
Actually, I have Devontae above him, so maybe I would go Devontae Smith. But
or Devontae Smith, yeah.
I think you're going to start him. He's an auto start on your team. I don't think you have 3 receivers in front of him that are better, unless you have AJ, CD, and Jamar. Like, I think you're okay to start him.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. It's just not an ideal matchup. Like, we're not going to see the Tank Dell explosion this week, right? And then
I mean, the Jets defense is not, let's just say, hasn't improved at all since Saul was firing. I mean,
I think it's gotten worse since he's been fired.
Patriots shredded them.
Yeah.
On Sunday. I don't like the Jets right now are a whole pit of confusion. I don't know what Jets team is going to show up tonight. I'm very interested in it. So, but I agree with Brian here. You shouldn't have any hesitation starting Tank Dell. He's clearly the wide receiver 1 on that team at the moment. So there's going to be some targets his way, even if he has to deal with Sauce Gardner all night. And you just get what you get.
Yeah, and I do think like the other receiving, even on Jacksonville and Houston, the other I wouldn't like start him in season long, but they're good we don't talk about DFS much, but if you're a big DFS guy, I think those are good cheap options to maybe take just a lottery ticket on.
Yeah, no, for sure, because stuff happens, right? No one knows who Cedric Tillman is, and now Jameis comes in, and Tillman, well, where do you have Tillman? What do you?
No, I'm just pumped about Jameis.
Oh, Jameis! Oh my God. Okay, let's talk Jameis for a minute. All right, when in history has the guy he got downgraded to 3rd QB, and then all of a sudden, right, Achilles, Dorian Robinson, Thompson, whatever his name is out.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Jameis shreds the Ravens, right? First time they score over 20. Jameis is over 300 yards, game-winning touchdown. I mean, a believer. So, Jason, you're a believer?
I mean, I'm always a Jameis believer. I always ride for Jameis, but the reality is too, and I'm just going to try to keep this as unbiased as possible, since there has to be a level of accountability here. He's no higher than a QB2 for most weeks. Like this week against the Chargers, that's a tough matchup. I don't know if I would start him this weekend.
Yeah, I agree.
What about Cedric Tillman though? Cedric Tillman or Tank Dell this week?
Tank Dell.
Okay. So
like almost double the points I would project.
Okay. I'm a big Tillman guy though. I got him.
It's just I still trust Tank. That's still CJ's guy. I still trust Stroud more than I trust Jameis.
100%.
You'd be locked up in the loony bin if you didn't.
Hey, I have a kickball team that I captain named Jameis Winston's Victory Formation. That's how much I love the guy.
Okay, that is a lot. Cass gave us a quick question here, so let's just hit that and then we'll get back to the preview. All right, question in advance. Chase Brown got dropped. I want to grab him, but dropping Mason for him would be crazy, right? Despite the recent injury and potential CMC return, Daddle is my other drop. This is the right crew. We got 2 CMC rosters. We got a Niners fan. Jason, What are we doing? Is Jordan Mason? Is he dead?
He's not. I mean, his stock is dead as long as McCaffrey's active. But with this injury, you you just want to keep him stashed. You just never know. Especially, we're heading into week 10 when the Niners come back. He is expected to be back week 10. And, we're getting into the Niners are sitting at 4-4 in the middle trying to, take back the division and everything because the NFC West has given the Niners all it can handle. You got to keep Mason as a handcuff. I know it's a waste of a roster spot, but you got to hang on to him. Just in case.
Brian, is that true, or is it fool once, shame on me? Could you get screwed by Mason twice?
I would. I'm rostering him. I mean, is Dowdle really going to be a starter on your team? Maybe a bye week fill-in. He hasn't done that much. So, do you want Dowdle potential as a low-end flex play, or do you want CMC tears both his Achilles because both are tendonitis, and then boom, Mason's there, RB1 for the rest of the year?
Yeah. Really, what you probably should do is just trade Mason to whoever is CMC because they'll give you 150 cents on the dollar, right?
That's very smart, I think.
Well, cool. Okay, let's get back to this Thursday night preview, right? So, do you guys know what the spread is?
Texans or it's Jets -2.5.
Yeah, I knew what it was. Okay,
I saw 1.5.
It's
when I was doing the model Wednesday, it was 1.5, so it probably moved.
I've seen it anywhere. Well, that's a first for me, but I've seen Jets -2 and Jets -2.5. So 1.5 too.
Well, it's a kind of a trappy line, right? You got the Jets at home 2-6, Texans 6-2. In what world are the Jets going to be favored? They've lost 5 in a row. They're kind of melting down. 40-year-old QB on a short week. But CJ Stroud's down Diggs and Nico, right? What's your lean in this game, Brian?
For betting,
Sure, hit me, betting, yeah.
I do, it's Jets, but, at some point, they have to do something. So I'm actually very high on both Adams and Wilson.
Okay, because Texans have a top 5 pass defense, right?
They're banged up, I think. I would start him. I mean, you're projected 21 points. That's most likely 2 to 3 touchdowns. I like the bet that I saw that I really like because Devontae Adams, I think it was plus 135 when I saw it anytime. I just feel like this is the game. But I mean, I'm loving from fantasy perspective. I have Rodgers as a mid-tier. It's low end, kind of borderline QB1, QB2. You're auto starting Wilson, Adams, and Hall, and then
Adams auto start. I don't know auto start.
I have him auto start, and then I'm where's Houston? Yeah, Mixon's auto start, Dell, and then honestly, I hope you can find a better QB. I never end up with these QBs. They're not running QBs who are drafted around 5 to 12. I just never end up with them on my team. So I don't have the choice to start any of them, but I would actually start probably Rodgers over Stroud in this game.
Okay. Jason, you got a couple bets for us?
I do. So my guy Chop, he was hey, got to shout him out. He had Dalton Schultz over 24.5 receiving yards and Garrett Wilson 4+ catches, parlayed -140. So I like that one. And then for my
4+, is that he's probably 4.5, right?
Yeah, 4.5. No, it's 4+. It was 4+ on this bet that he sent this morning.
Okay.
And then a couple of my own research that I actually do from time to time. Breece Hall over 67.5 rush yards, -113. And then last one. Oh, yeah. Joe Mixon, anytime touchdown, -125.
Okay, yeah, I like that. The Hall one I'm a little scared about, but I think Texans are really good against running backs in the receiving game. So, right, if they're going to get Hall involved, it'll probably have to be rushing. But
they play better. They level up against higher competition, but the teams that they should just run over and cover the spread against, namely the Colts and the Jaguars, they tend to play down to. So I think this is going to be a better game than people think.
Yeah, I mean it's a loser goes home game for the Jets, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you lose this game Thursday night at home, crowd's gonna boo. But are they more likely to roll over and die, or like show some fight?
I think they're going to show some fight. I think when you have guys like Devontae Adams, that dude's a competitor, and I just don't see them guy like him rolling over. I think Brees Hall plays his butt off every week, and Garrett Wilson too. Like he cares, like he clearly cares. And again, there's a lot of pressure for them to perform. Joe Douglas's job is very much on the line here. They roll over and die again. You got to think he could end up being fired, or
two coaches fired in 1 year.
No, the GM.
Oh, the GM. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, the GM. Like he uses a scapegoat now. He used his get out of jail free card with Saleh being gone. The Jets roll over and die tonight. You got to think that could actually be coming.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just don't like 40-year-old QB, short week. Rodgers is already banged up. Like he's probably just started doing his therapy. Plus, we kind of saw with Brady. When he got older, he didn't the night games. He wasn't good, right? So
again, Aaron Rodgers 10-3 is a Thursday night favorite.
Okay, well, wow, but those are probably Packers. Those are as a Packer, right?
He was a favorite a few weeks ago with the Jets against the Patriots, and he looked like his old self.
Okay. Bedtime theory, maybe not real. Okay. What, Brian? Anything else you got for us in this game?
I mean, it's more of a vibes thing, but like with Lazard out, his only real buddy that he brings everywhere is now Devontae. So that's kind of another reason I'm pretty high on Devontae.
That makes sense. I like that. That tracks.
Like he's now just his close friend with Lazard out. Hopefully he actually gets it to Wilson, then that becomes a thing. But I just really like Adams in this game.
Okay, Adams. Okay, because I just did the preview for this game, and he's got like 85 yards, right, combined the last two games. I mean, it looks like he's kind of lost a step, but what?
He's due. He's also coming off the hamstring injury too, so
we don't know if that was even real. But
I was also going to say, Brian, you dressed up as me for Halloween today with the vibe stuff. I love it.
Yeah,
vibes over models. Okay, let's talk a little long-term stuff. So rest of season, right? Any like dark horses finish? Let's say running back, QB, wide receiver. Jason, you got anything for me?
I already put this in the chat, but Josh Downs. I've been so high on Josh Downs like all year, and the fact that he was going like so late in draft was so mind-boggling to me. This dude had 770 yards and 2 touchdowns last year as a rookie. So, coming off, everybody got scared away by the ankle injury, it felt like, and he's been doing work with Flacco. Like he's been putting up, wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 1 numbers, I believe, every single week with Flacco as the quarterback. So now I feel like his stock is going to go up, and he's going to end up finishing, at least near the top 10 as receiver.
So, like, if you had Devontae Adams, you would trade him and get Josh Downs?
No.
Oh, you wouldn't do that?
No, that's reckless.
Okay, that's right. Okay, that's a bridge too far. Okay.
Okay,
what about anyone else? Well, QB. Give me a QB you think could make the leap here.
Kyler. Yeah, Kyler. I mean, he's had those games this year where he's been in that territory. That Cardinals offense is really cooking with some confidence right now. And I think he could make that leap, too, into QB1 territory. He's always had the ability. His legs alone give him that ability. He's broken off a couple of 40-plus yard touchdown runs this year, which is more than some running backs that we all love. So that alone helps. There's some receivers and other pass catchers getting in the mix there. And that offensive line seems to be holding up enough. So, yeah, I think Kyler can go into that QB1 territory.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, if Marvin Harrison kind of can get some consistency, Trey McBride's been great. Michael Wilson, a little, cutting, he's a little in and out. And then, running back. Give me a running back. Dark horse running back. You can be a backup, somebody that's been hiding in plain sight. What do you got?
Ooh, dark horse running back. I think Rachaad White reemerges.
Oh, okay.
Hot lately, been hot the last couple of weeks, and with these injuries to the Bucs, the Bucs receivers, and judging what we saw the first week without them, although Evans will be back in a few weeks, that trio is going to be of him, Palmer, and Bucky is going to be heavily relied on, but they're going to be on the field a lot and be used a lot. So
sure,
re-elevates himself into at least RB2, higher end RB2 territory.
And then we saw Bucky's got some toe injury. He's got to deal with the rest of the season. So if that gets worse, right? White slides in, him and Tucker. Okay, Rashad White. I like that. Because we saw Baker's not going away, right? I thought the Bucs were just going to roll over and die, but Baker three touchdowns. So.
Yeah.
So you think Bucs got a shot Monday night versus the Chiefs?
No.
Okay.
No, they're not going to win that game, but I could definitely see them covering 9 points.
Right, Baker calling his own shot, his own backdoor TD. Okay, Brian, what do you got? You got something. You always got something weird for me.
I gotta head out after this, but
okay.
Dak Prescott, his schedule is just clearing up a bunch, and then I think he's kind of the QB that's I'm looking at. A-Chain, not like the biggest kind of dart throw, but he hasn't been the best. And now that Tua's back, he's been killing it in the passing game with Tua. He's the running back.
But do you worry about Mostert getting the goal line touches? Because he had 2 touchdowns.
It's the passing that is kind of keeping A-Chain alive, I think. And he still gets rushing volume. Last is Tank Dell. I just think we've seen him go off recently too. And even with Nico Collins, and he doesn't have Nico Collins now, he can build a rapport. I just think those 3 guys could be league winners as the season ends.
Okay, wow. Even Nico coming back, because we know Nico's the alpha, but maybe Tank's almost better as a wide receiver too. Kind of, like T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, still going to eat a lot, better coverage, right? Just live over the middle. Okay. Yep. I like those. So we got Brian had Rashad White, Kyler Murray, and his boy Josh Downs. And that's Brian's repping.
Yeah, Jason had those 2.
That's what I meant, Jason. Sorry. And then Brian, you're repping Dak Prescott at QB because you think the schedule finally gets nice and him and CD start connecting.
Yeah, we've seen it last season.
Okay, that's true.
He was pretty bad, and then he just went off.
All right, we got a record. And then A-Chain, which isn't a super dark horse, but I mean, you're talking he could finish RB1 essentially over the back half, right? Because he's got that pop. And then Tank Dell, right? All the opportunity. Everyone knows CJ loves him. Right, Diggs out for the year, and Nico Hammies, right? We don't know it's 100%. Nico's my guy, and I'm praying for him, but he can come back, pull it, huh?
He's due back next week, isn't he?
Yeah, I know, but it's a hamstring, right? He comes back, hurts it again, right? How many times have we seen that?
I mean, AJ Brown sat out 4 weeks, and he's been fine.
Yeah, we say AJ Brown.
Yeah, I mean, he's Nico Collins. He's a stud, man. He'll be fine.
I love Nico. I got Nico everywhere. I don't want it to happen. Okay, Brian, you got to take off?
Yes, I do. Have a good one, guys.
All right, thanks, Brian. Okay, what up, Jay? So let's we're light on questions this week, probably because I posted this late, but anybody watching, hit us with a question. We'll handle your ridiculous trade proposals, some start sit, even some prop bets. I'll hit you with a couple prop bets I like this week. So Joe Mixon, 81.5 yards rushing. He's got 100 yards, three games in a row. He's hit over 100 and he scored in all of them. We know the Jets have problem tackling, 30th ranked rush defense. Texans down their 2 wide receivers, so they're just going to pound the ball. Plus, we've seen that strategy all year, even to their detriment, because there's been a lot of third and longs, but they like to run early, run often. So I love that Mixon, even though the Thursday night football running back curse, which I read about all the time, never back them, but it's kind of broken. And then, Garrett Wilson I like because he's got over 100 yards from 3 of the last 4 games, and his numbers at like 58 yards. I like his yards over receptions this week, but at 4 receptions.
He had like 3 for 88 last week or something like that. Yeah, like low cash number, high yardage.
Yeah, so, Texans are good against the pass.
Which is great. We're starting to go and get that big play chemistry going, which is nice. So, I like that too.
Yeah, and then I did under Mike Williams, 1.5 catches. I don't think Rodgers has really even thrown to him since he ran that wrong route and cost him the game. Little worried with Lazard in, he takes that wide receiver spot, but they're going to be running 2 wide receiver sets all game, maybe. So I'm just hoping Mike Williams doesn't catch one early and screw me. And then CJ Stroud rush yards. Apparently QBs running against the Jets, they've covered every line. It's like 8.5 yards. Huh?
It's all 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5, right? Yeah, CJ Stroud rush yards, right? So Yeah, I'm hammering that. He's gone over a lot. He had -10 last week. The only worry is he's sitting at 11. They're up fourth quarter, and then they kneel down, and he finishes at 8.
We need to change that rule.
I know.
Legit, it drives me clinically insane. Although it did win me a fantasy matchup last week. That league that I won by 0.68 points.
Yeah.
Guy I was going against, sorry Anton, had Brock, and so when Brock took that last knee, it cost him rushing yards, and it ended up costing him the matchup. So that was great.
It's stupid, but so let's just hit a little week 9, just some big picture stuff. What's your favorite fantasy game? What's your get everybody in game?
Eagles Jags.
Eagles Jags.
That one's gonna be fun. I mean, look, the Eagles defense isn't great.
No.
Yeah, even Trevor Lawrence struggling could do well, and we all know how bad the Jaguars defense is. And with that Eagle offense, they're gonna.
But who are you starting on the Jags, right? Evan Ingram, probably. He's got to be probably maybe the tight end one. Yeah, Bigsby, yeah.
Bigsby for sure. I would even, honestly, if you're really out of options, you're in bye week blues, I would consider starting Trevor.
Really? You start really?
Garbage points. So, and then everybody on the Eagles you're starting.
Yeah,
except for the tight end. Except for Kamara.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming Scott will presumably be out. Another game that I also really like, we're gonna go up to my neck of the woods here in the Pacific Northwest, is the Rams and the Seahawks.
Okay, I like that. Okay, I think DK. We didn't cover DK. Is he practicing?
Yeah, DK. He didn't practice yesterday, I believe. Well, I don't think the Seahawks have had their availability yet today, since it's still 2:30 up here. So we don't know if he's practiced yet or not. But he was already trending to play this week. So obviously he comes back and plays. He's wide receiver 1. In my opinion, the Rams secondary is very susceptible. Oh my God, just pulled a very bad Arizona State or very bad move. That's just embarrassing from an Arizona State grad. Very susceptible to the pass. So he comes back in, and then even Lockett and Jackson Smith and Jigba still hold wide receiver 2 flex value. You can run on the Rams too. So Kenny Walker, automatic RB2 as it is at the very lowest. That's his floor, and then Geno should have a good game. And on the other side, the Rams have all their weapons back. And when those guys are on the field together, they're a pretty darn good fantasy offense. No matter who they play.
Can you name a better top 4? Stafford, Kyron, Puka, Cooper.
Joey B. Do I go Chase Brown or Zach Moss here?
You're gonna lose either way.
Yeah, I know, true. And then Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you got 3 of the 4 bangers. But yeah, you go your San Fran boys, right? Brock, CMC, Kittle, Debo.
Yep, when healthy and available, but hey, he's off this week, so that's good. I'm trying to think who else. This is actually kind of a fun game that we could actually turn in right now. Is what are some really fun, top 4 fantasy offense? Philly.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle. Yeah. Well, Philly. Yeah, Philly's the obvious one, right?
Devontae, nasty.
Lamar.
Geno, Kenny Walker. Then you go DK, and then who do you go between Lockett and JSN?
I'm going JSN, but
yeah, I agree. At this point of their careers, it's JSN.
Okay, what about we got
there?
The best one's probably the Lions, right? Because you could go Goff, then you could go double running back, and then St. Brown, or you could slide Laporte in over from Monty. Let's talk about that game though, right? So that was my get everyone in fantasy game, right? You could have a whole fantasy team just from those 2 teams.
Yeah, really. Both. I mean, the Packers also a very decent top 4, but it's not on that tier with the others from a fantasy standpoint.
Who's even the 4, right? I know at the beginning of the year, Jaden Reed.
Name your 4.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying with the tier, right? We thought it was Reed and everybody else, but now it seems like Dobbs is taking that top spot. What are you doing for fantasy? Let's say you had all 4 wide receivers, you could only start 2.
From the receiver stand, I'm still starting Reed and I'm still starting Dobbs.
Okay, yeah. I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, I still think Reed is still the number 1 guy. They can use him in more ways than they use anybody else out of their receiver core. So at this point, I'm going. The other guy we can't forget about is Tucker Kraft.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be in that mix as well. From the Lions standpoint, yeah, the number of combinations and permutations you can do with having a top 4 is real nice. Even with it, you can do it with a quarterback. You do it. I mean, how crazy was Goff's stat line? The dude threw for 28 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was awesome.
Yeah, the Lions are cooking. All right, but so Jameson Williams, right, got suspended for Viagra or something, but sometimes that's a cover. But then he also has some gun charge. I didn't really read about that. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. I believe there was like a warrant out for his arrest, and there were some questions about why the Detroit PD let him out. I don't really know, but that's going to definitely get him suspended, not this year, but next.
Okay.
Once due process plays out and the personal conduct policy comes in, it's not usually an immediate thing with that type of situation. You see guys who get in trouble off the field. It usually happens the year after with suspension. So like Kamara, I think a couple of years ago got suspended 6 games for a 2022 incident, and it happened in then got suspended for 23. Rashid Rice is still awaiting league discipline, so that's going to come next year. And I'm assuming the same thing will happen with Jameson Williams.
Okay. Let's talk a little Niners, right? They're on the bye week, but I mean, what a thank God, right? Maybe make it a 2-week. But so, what are your feelings for CMC, right? He comes back, like, what is he going to get? Split carries? They're going to throw him in? They're going to put him on a pitch count? Any sort of cliches?
I mean, you got to think they're going to throw him right into the fire. He's not going to be doing nearly the workhorse stuff that he was.
Who did they play? Who was their first game against?
Week 10, we're playing at Tampa Bay. So
okay, that's nice. Tampa's not very good. Ooh,
no, their defense isn't good. Nice weather matchup. Going across the country to TB, which would be nice. But they're probably not going to just kill him right away. I mean, the Niners are still they got so much to play for. Like this is like the last dance year for this group, really, with the salary cap and Brock's contract coming up. You can't risk McCaffrey getting hurt, but he's still, the second you put him in, RB1.
Yeah. Okay. So how is that going to change the hierarchy, right? Because we've seen Kittle just blow up, right? Also, a lot of that's because Ayuk's out, but CMC's out, and the way it kind of works is they just fill, right? But when everybody's healthy, Kittle's kind of at the bottom of the pole.
Not anymore. And plus, he's been basically a tight end 1 this year too.
He's been the best. He's the best tight end in football right now. Yeah, no, for sure. But is CMC, is that going to change the hierarchy? Is there going to be a realignment where Kittle goes back to mostly kind of blocking and he gets his 3 catches for 40 yards?
I don't know about that. I still think Kyle likes to throw the ball with Brock more than he has with any other quarterback that he's had in his tenure here. Like, he really trusts Brock to throw the ball a lot and spread it around and chuck it around and throw it deep. He takes more chances with Brock than I've ever really seen. And the one thing that and the reason why I say this, there was early in the season last year, we were playing in LA against the Rams, and we get the ball down to the 1-yard line with about a second left. If that were Jimmy Garoppolo back there, Kyle would have kicked the field goal. Instead, he goes, "Yo, Brock, just go sneak it." Brock snuck it in for a touchdown and a half. Totally changed the game.
Yeah, he's had 3 rushing touchdowns his last 2 games, right? They're
yeah,
you need a name for that.
He trusts Brock more than really any quarterback I've ever seen.
Well, he hasn't had a lot of other good ones, but
he's gone through a number of quarterbacks here, and he never really trusted Jimmy like that. Definitely never trusted Hoyer or Nick Mullins, Sam Darnold. No, Brock.
Okay, what about Juwan Jennings? He's been out, but they got the bye week. He's back. Is he going to take Ayuk's spot? Is he got wide receiver 2 upside?
Wide receiver 2, but it's time to start keeping an eye on Slick Rick. Ricky Pearsall has been integrating himself the last couple of weeks. He's made a couple of big plays. He had the 39-yard rush late in the game the other night to really help. At least give the Niners a chance to salt away that game that they almost again blew. Into this. So, it's time to start keeping an eye on him too, and he might be a good stash. And, at this point, could be a league winner for you.
So would you rather stash Jennings or Pearsall?
Ricky.
Oh, wow, Ricky. Okay, wow.
Look, my love for Juwan Jennings knows no bounds. I've been on the Juwan Jennings train literally since the second we drafted him in 2020, but
nice, okay.
He's been a very reliable third down guy, but they like Ricky in the fact that he can separate better than a lot of receivers that they do have. And that was the big reason they drafted him, was his separation ability. And
yeah, I mean, I was week 1, I saw it, man. He looked great against the Jets.
He didn't play against the Jets.
What? Juwan Jennings?
Oh, Juwan Jennings. Yeah. I was talking about Ricky Pearsall. And that's why
No, he's still.
I would rather keep Ricky. He's younger. He's a little more fresh. Juwan Jennings has been a great third down guy, but Ricky can gain more separation. He can do more of the things that IU does.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up shortly here because we got Halloween, we got trick or treats. I hear my dog's barking, doorbell ringing. We got a couple questions. So if anyone's watching on Twitter, you can jump to YouTube, hit us with a question. But here we go. All right, Jay, we got Hopkins, Dell, Myers, Shakir. Pick one. Okay, who can we rule? I don't think we're gonna play Hopkins yet, right?
No, I'm not quite ready for that. I think we're going to keep going with Brian's model here, and we're going to keep going with Tank.
All right, Brian at Tank. All right, wide receiver one. I love Jacoby. Jacoby Myers is my guy, but Raiders, not a great matchup, right? What I just saw it. Yeah, Cincy's not bad actually. But I mean, you know, sometimes you go, who's got the best QB? Well, we got Mahomes, Stroud, Gardner Minshew, and Josh Allen, right? So
yeah,
Shakir's great, but the Mark Cooper's coming, even though he's been mostly just using his gravity.
Keon Coleman, too. He had another 100-yard game on Sunday.
Who?
Keon Coleman.
Coleman's coming too, right? So the only, if you're doing predictions, really volume is the only thing you can be sure of, right? So you want targets. Who's getting the most targets? Tank's going to get the most targets. He's probably got the hardest matchup, but you know, volume is king. So yeah, I'm going to go Tank Dell here. Yeah, I've been convinced. Okay, we got Scooby. Here we go, Scooby. Okay, would you play Chuba or Tank Dell in 0.5 PPR? Well, we got Jonathan Brooks practiced twice in a row. I think he might get his first game back. Plus, the Panthers suck. Well, I mean, is there any way you're playing Chuba over Tank here?
No, they've been waiting Jonathan Brooks' return too long. It's his time. So I'm going Tank Dell.
Yeah, Tank. I think it's Tank season. I love Tank. I just don't love this matchup for him. But you know, if he's going to make the leap, you know, trial by fire. So Tank.
Yeah, this is got to be the one for him. So it's just, again, it's not really it's not a matchup thing. It's just a straight up volume thing at this point. You know, Chuba, the very best, is going into a timeshare. Tank Dell right now is the de facto wide receiver one, while Diggs is out and Nico Collins is on his way back.
Yeah, but it is a good matchup, right? As bad as the Panthers are, the Saints D's been almost as bad, right? They've been getting Denver crushed them. Everybody's been running, you know, rough shot on them. So I got to go Tank here because you just don't know what they're going to do with Brooks. I mean, sure, they're not going to give him 25 carries, but maybe 10. So maybe it's like a 8-8 split, and then they go down big, and then now they're just throwing. You know, it's just. You know, it's fantasy football, man. You know Stroud's going to target Tank. That's the one thing we know. You know, how much or how little, or no, we do not. Anyways, thank you. All right, no problem. All right, we're going to wrap up shortly here. Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, appreciate you, Scooby.
Oh,
I actually want to bring something up that we should. I know we talked about this on the Sunday show. You know, the tattoos of like what would you tell this year's self going into next year for fantasy football?
Yeah, the memento, yeah. You got some tats for me? Face tat?
Yeah, I got the don't draft a quarterback too early unless it's Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that's your tattoo?
That's one of them. The other one, I'm gonna say it again, don't doubt Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. First overall, right? That's so next year?
And the 1.01 curse is real.
It is. No, for sure. So Jefferson, Minnesota's playing Indy. What would you put? What's the ceiling? Yeah, like you got to bet your life that if Jefferson goes over the number, you die.
You mean if he goes under this number, I die?
No. Because then you can just make it 20 yards. I'm saying like you got to make the ceiling so high that he can't go over it. Like 220 yards.
Oh, yardage. I thought you were making fantasy point wise.
Oh yeah. No. So, yeah.
I'll go 240.
240.
That Indy secondary is bad.
I know.
He's had some really good games this year. He hasn't had the nuclear game yet. It's just you got to think it's coming. They've lost 2 in a row. This Indy secondary isn't good. It's Sunday night under the lights. You know how it is. I feel really good about it.
So you heard it here. If Justin Jefferson has 241 yards, you will not see Jason on the pod next Thursday. But yeah, no, I love that. I can't wait to bet his yards. I might do a ladder, the Justin Jefferson ladder, like 100, 125, 150. Just he gets a 60-yard touchdown in the first quarter, right? The roof's
He's
gonna
just
cave
due
in.
for that nuclear game. Like,
Yeah.
remember like 2 years ago when they played the Packers on opening day?
Week 1. Yeah, I know.
Opening day, 125.
He's wide open.
He went for like 130 and a touchdown in the first quarter.
I know. I remember seeing
against him that week. This guy.
He was wide open over the middle of the field, and it was like what are the 11 guys doing? Your only job is don't let him get open.
He hasn't scored a touchdown in a couple weeks now either, so he is due to refine the end zone here and hit a gritty or two.
But this isn't galaxy brain thinking Justin Jefferson's going to go off.
Yeah, I just feel like I feel good about him this week.
Yeah.
Really good. Everything just seems to be aligning. The matchup, the location of the matchup, Sunday Night Football, it just feels right.
He's the guy I feel like I'm always playing every week. Do you have one of those? Because in multiple leagues, and it's just I just always see Justin Jefferson on the other side. It's like, damn it.
Yeah, you're just like, great.
Do you have anyone like that?
I'm trying to think. This year, I don't. Actually, well, I guess, it's actually feels like Brock Purdy.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a good thing, though, when he lights you up.
Yeah, I know. Except that, although I did win both my matchups going against him this week. I went against him in 2 or 3 leagues, and my team's found a way to win. So,
Okay, well, guys, we're gonna wrap up. We covered Thursday. We covered Week 9. We did the injury breakdown. So your props. I'm on Joe Mixon rushing yards, touchdown, and Garrett Wilson receiving yards, and C.J. Stroud rushing yards. Jason, you're on.
Yeah, we're on Breece Hall over 67.5 rushing yards, -113. Joe Mixon anytime tub, -125. And then the Dalton Schultz over 25 receiving yards, and Garrett Wilson over 4 catches, parlay, -140.
Okay, wow, yeah, he gave you all the stats. I should have done that too. But okay, so join us Sunday, right? 10:30. Jason was on last week. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a surprise visit. Maybe we'll get Brian since he bailed on us to hand out candy this week. But thanks everybody. Anyone, if you didn't get any questions in, just jump over to our Discord. We're always answering questions all week, or you can even tweet us. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Cheers.